I read the first chapter of Prophecy of the Nameless, right? I loved it. I really really loved it. So I want to dive in of like, hey, what inspired you to make that? What inspired you to kind of like go in a direction? Because you could explain it. You don't have to play any spoilers out, but kind of what made you like go that create Prophecy of the Nameless, the art style, stuff like that.
No, I'm spoiling everything, man.
We here.
Don't read the manga. Just come to this live. But what inspired me to make Prophecy of the Nameless was kind of last year was sort of a rough year for me. Just I felt like I needed to just better myself, just in terms of more as an artist and as a person too. So it was like that year was really rough, and I wanted to change who I was, which was kind of the creation or birth of the persona of Prince Pandora. And the reason I made Prince Pandora is because I don't think anyone's truly ready to kind of take up the mantle of king. So I call myself a prince in order to learn how to become a king. Each fall, each time I get up, that's more experience, more knowledge I can take with me to kind of help better kind of, being the king and controlling, which is my world, which is, my body and mind and stuff. And Pandora, she was named that after to be all gifted and all giving. And I like to believe that I am a gifted individual, and I would like to give my all to everything that I could be a part of, or anything I put my mind to. So for Prophecy and the Nameless, when I created that, it was also another extension of my evolution of what I want to tell. So with Riku, you see he's a bit of a hothead, and kind of I base some the characters off people I know in my real life. So for me, I also kind of base it off personal experiences and what I want to tell. Like, what do I want to say about my growth? That in the beginning, it's frustrating that you can't really find any answer. No matter how much you try to get yourself be taken serious, that you're still taken as a joke, or you're just you feel like you're a burden. So it's the story. It's kind of just about Jesus, not that. But what I would wanted to make the story is kind of like just a journal of sorts about my healing recovery that I can put into this story. In the beginning, there's ranks, there's everything. Even though Riku is nobility, he was born into it. I mean, not born into it. He wasn't born in nobility. His family got into nobility thanks to the action of his father during this war. So a lot of nobles, especially in this country, and which is Ventus, and Ventus is the kingdom of air. A lot of people don't really like that. Even like, if you're a commoner, you should stay a commoner. There's no reason a commoner should become a noble. Even if you fought a war, you have you're not really acting like a noble. You're just still a commoner, just with a noble name. So they don't like Riku because of that. So whenever they go to banquets, whenever they have gatherings, which isn't many times, but still a few times they had to put up with it. They make him and his family kind of like not the laughing stock, but the butt of the joke, and they can't do anything about it because do you really want to risk losing, your title or anything for the sake of that? But as you saw, Riku kind of just didn't care because even though he gets insulted, he doesn't like when people insult the people he cared for, which was Julius the wolf. With this story, kind of just like the whole inspiration, like One Piece. One Piece, I love the world building of One Piece. Every time they go to a different island, it's a whole different vibe. It's like they even change their clothes. And I think that's kind of one of the cool parts too. Is like it makes you more involved with the world. It makes the characters more involved with the world. Like it isn't just a setting, it's also to me like another character. I can bring the way here.
Bro, that's amazing. I love I just love the plot, right? I love the sort of this like you said, like Riku, he's a hot headed dude, and it seems like he just really doesn't appreciate the injustice that like people, like, as far as like nobility, how they treat is it like the lesser nobility, or is it ranks of nobility, like
There
is
is
that
with nobilities. You could think of like a regular hierarchy. You got the kings, the princes, the dukes, the archbishop. No, yeah, I think archbishop. The dukes, stuff like the earls and etc. So it follows those ranks, and the highest is obviously the king. The lowest is a baron, which why they got the rank of a baron, because they couldn't really become too high in nobility chain because oh well, just because you fought in the war doesn't mean you get to be a prince. Like no, you got to be born into this. So you got to be. They got them to be a baron. But also as well with story because I wanted to point this out is another thing that inspired me because I wouldn't say I'm a big Zodiac fan, but I kind of like Zodiac a lot.
Got you.
The story is there's 12 Zodiacs and they're all gods, but they're split up into 4 sections, 3 of them in each, representing that particular element. So if you got Aquarius, air, Pisces, water, and so forth and so forth. And the story, the country the story takes place in, there's 4 kingdoms. Jeez, gotta get my hand in the camera. 4 kingdoms. Ventus said earlier, the kingdom of air, Rain, the kingdom of water, Terra, the kingdom of earth, and Enya, the kingdom of fire. Okay. So each of them, there's 3 gods, and that's there kind of as castles, like dungeons that you gotta conquer in order to get that particular weapon. And so in the story, Riku managed to become Jesus. Riku becomes.
You got spoiled if you don't want to, bro.
I mean, it's gonna happen, so it's not really a spoiler. Riku becomes a celestial warrior, and celestial warrior is someone who's conquers a dungeon. Now, in order to become a true warrior, true celestial warrior, he has to gain all 3 of the dungeons, which is kind of like, if you're in the Wind Kingdom, you got to capture all 3. So for each kingdom, there's someone who captures each of them. So each kingdom already has a celestial warrior. Now here's this. Oh wait, I can't say that part. That part is a spoiler. I'm gonna save that for later. But and also for the power system in the world, everyone is born with one elemental affinity that they can be assigned to, and they can't really use anything other than else. But when they use their powers, their eyes light up corresponding with the color of the power that is fire, red, water, blue, ice, teal, and it goes on from that. Now, in this world, there are things called casters, which is basically mages, but the level that you have, there's 1 through 5, and 5 being the lowest and 1 being the highest, determines how good you are with your elemental ability. For instance, if you're a level 5 fire caster, you can't really do much. You're just doing mundane tasks with you're doing like day-to-day tasks with your magic, that's another thing too. I want magic to be a part of the world. Like they actively use it. They kind of do like small tasks with it. Like, the gas not working. Fire. Oh wait a minute. The gas not working.
Okay, there we go. All right, bet. Yo, that's really cool. It reminded me of like you mentioned that like some of the nobility like doesn't care if like hey the other nobility, I guess lesser nobility fought in the war, they still were just lesser than, right? And it kind of like that brought to my mind sort of some of the experiences like that our ancestors like have experienced, right? Where it's like, they fought in various different places, or they fought in Vietnam or whatever, and it's like they come back and they're not really treated as still being seen as people, which is like kind of crazy. As like in my big thing is right with anime, with manga, with honestly with a lot of different animated shows or whatever. It's like a lot of that is relatable to our everyday life in some way, shape, or form. So I love that like your story kind of like, at least for me, right? Like it just pointed that out where it's like, oh snap, like even if you are this really great war hero, you still have the possibility to treat it like you're nothing, which sucks because like at the end of the day, like you are still valuable as a person, but like you have people that are just like have some sort of power and they look at you like, hey,